Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this week's podcast episode. I am one of your FWBs, booked with Emily or just M.
And I am your other FWB, read reviews by Jess or just Jess. And today we're coming at ya to speak about one of the most anticipated releases probably of our lifetime, if we're being honest.
Yeah, ever. There's nothing going to be bigger than this. And if you don't know what it is, we're about to tell ya.
It starts with Us by Colleen motherfucking Hoover.
All hail the queen. All hail the host for Coho. Let me tell you what, we are so excited. I cannot wait to talk about this book, except who knows what we're going to say, actually. So I'm kind of nervous.
Who knows what we're going to say. Before we get into it, though, how are you doing, Emily?
I'm doing well. You know, it's hump day, so no complaints there halfway through the week. I'm currently binge reading a book because I have a book club tomorrow and I put it off for months. So,
what are you reading?
Final Girls by Riley Sager.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's actually like the perfect spooky season book. It's really good. It's my first Sager, but I'm liking it. I am getting scared. So,
she's scared.
I'm scared. How are you, Jess?
I am doing magnificent, honestly. I am off work this week, so I'm having a little staycation by myself because my husband is working still, so I'm just kind of living my best life.
Jealous.
And really just embracing of how I would want to live life, which is like a stay-at-home wife who actually does not have to do anything and can just go shopping and get her nails done, so...
Yeah, no, I want to do that too. You know what sucks though? Is when you go back to work next week.
Oh, I have to go to Utah next week.
Which is even worse.
Not because I'm going to Utah, but because I actually have to go to the office. Or because I'm going to Utah.
Because it's Utah. But if you live there, that's cool. I'm just giving Jess a hard time. So, but I'm sure you won't be surprised by this. We're going to start our episode off by doing a quiz. And Jess found, which Coho book are you? So I refuse to open this quiz up on my laptop because I'm convinced it's going to be a virus. So Jess is going to take the quiz for both of us. So she's going to read the questions and we're going to answer.
Yeah. Well, I just first of all want to shout out the person who made this quiz. Her name is at Charlotte May Reads on TikTok. I'm sorry Emily's insulting your quiz. I personally love it. So
until your computer crashes in 2 hours, the quiz will be worth it. It's fine.
It's fine. All right, let's kick off. So this is a 7-question quiz. I've got 2 different tabs open. One quiz for Emily and one quiz for me because she's a scaredy cat baby.
Exactly.
So let's jump right in. Okay. What word do you think describes you the best? Strong, kind, fun, quiet, or mysterious?
Do you think it's strong physically or strong like mentally, emotionally?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, I'll go with fun.
Okay. I was also gonna say fun, but I don't think I'm actually fun. Like, I just think I have a fun personality.
I think that's what fun. That's how I. Is that not what you? What are you taking it as?
I don't know. I'm gonna put fun too.
Okay.
Okay. Next question. What is your favorite season? Winter, summer, fall/autumn, or spring?
Fall/autumn.
Okay. I'm going to say spring. I am an autumn girly and I am a fall girly, but I don't know. Lately, I've been really enjoying spring.
You're enjoying spring in the middle of October.
This year, I really enjoyed spring. So, next question. If someone told you to stop asking questions, you would A, back off. It's none of your... Back off. It's none of my business. Oh, wait. I'm reading this wrong. I'd back off. It's none of my business.
Okay.
Or, please, this is my time to shine.
Okay. I'm going to say, please, it's my time to shine for me. And I'm going to say, okay, I'll back off. It's none of my business for you.
That's true. Okay, have you read more than 3 Colleen Hoover books? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, for me as well. What color best describes your personality? Blue, black, orange, pink, or yellow?
Pink.
Okay. I would say I'm a yellow.
Okay.
We just picked our favorite colors, I think.
Yes, that's exactly what I did. But I think that makes me a pink person. That explains my personality.
True. Okay, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I am an introverted extrovert. I'm both of them. I would say I'm an extrovert, though. I
think so,
yeah,
too.
I'm definitely more social than not.
I think I'm more of an introvert, but I also am an introverted extrovert.
Yeah.
What is your dream date? Book shopping and coffee? Baking cookies and watching movies cuddled up together? Solving mysteries? Or as long as I'm at the beach, I'm happy?
Oh, shit. Okay, I was sold with A, but now I'm like leaning towards D. Ooh.
You are a beach girl.
I'm going to do beach, D for sure, with a book.
Okay, I'm going to do A. Okay. My book is It Ends With Us.
Oh. It Ends With Us. I love that. That is a superior book.
Okay, here's my caption. It says, this was most likely the first Colleen Hoover book you ever read, and my guess is that you haven't been the same since. You probably fell head over heels for Ryle when you started reading and therefore now have severe trust issues. That actually is true. Mm-hmm. You probably now have a crippling book addiction and wonder where all your money went. Am I right or am I right? All of that is actually true.
That's actually so true for me, though, because that's what started my book addiction in my Bookstagram, like word by word. That's the book that jump started me getting in. Me and Charlotte are on the same page. But okay, you tell me my book.
Well, I want you to guess your book first.
Can you give me 3 guesses?
I'll give you 2.
Okay.
Guess.
No. Give me 2 options. Now guess.
You said, can you give me 3 guesses?
I meant options.
No, you just guess.
Ugly Love.
No.
Oh, fuck. Okay. All Your Perfects?
No.
Okay.
You got Heartbones.
Oh, okay. Well, that takes place at the literal beach. So
yeah,
that makes sense.
It says, you are a sweetheart. You love romance novels and are a sucker for a good beach day with a book. You are a kind and genuine soul who cares for everyone around you. You loved Heartbones, and it was probably your favorite Colleen Hoover book. This book probably made you want to move to the beach and make a bunch of new friends. I heart you.
I think a lot of that tracks, except for that's my favorite Colleen Hoover, because it's definitely not. I loved it, but it's not my favorite Colleen Hoover.
Oh, yeah.
But that was good. I do want to move to the beach. My husband and I both want to move to the beach. Maybe one day we'll get there.
I think that was a great quiz Charlotte May reads.
That was
10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. As always, we'll link it in our bio. So if you want to take it, feel free. And then let us know what book you got, because I think that says a lot about a person.
I think it does too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now that we've done that, tell us the summary of It Starts With Us, Jess. Let's get into the goods. Let's get into the grittiness.
All right, so It Starts With Us is the sequel to It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which, if you haven't read that one, it follows Lily in her kind of journey through this relationship that ends up being abusive and her getting out of it. And It Starts With Us picks up literally, I think, like a couple hours after the epilogue of It Ends With Us. So picks right up, and this book follows Lily and Atlas, who were childhood sweethearts who lost touch, and now they are coming back together in this book to kind of get their happily ever after. So this book is a dual point of view, and it goes back and forth between kind of how they're navigating life when their pasts are very much still present. So Lily is still having to deal with getting out of an abusive relationship, and obviously she's divorced now, but she still has to deal with her ex-husband because they have a child. So you get that, and then you also get Atlas, where his past was, I mean, it was a tough past. He went through a lot, and parts of that are coming back up now in his present, and so he's also working through that, and they're also kind of working through like how to be together now as adults.
Yeah.
So
I think that kind of sums it up perfectly, honestly. Like Jess said, It Starts With Us. It Starts With Us. It Starts With Us literally picks up exactly where It Ends With Us. ends. And so it's a really smooth transition. And I think that's, well, we'll get to what I think. But as Jess said, it is dual point of view. So you're going to get Atlas and Lily's point of view. It is obviously a romance. It's on average length, 320 pages. So
yeah,
I think that's a good length. And its rating on Goodreads, it almost has 100,000 reviews, not even in like a week. So 100,000 reviews for a 4.25 rating.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
No, not at all. I'm not surprised at all, but that's so wild. I guess, so as we've mentioned, Jess and I don't talk about our buddy reads prior to filming the podcast episode. So I am dying to know, I guess my first question for you would be like, did you want this sequel?
Mm-hmm.
Like, were you like really anticipating this? Were you so excited? Like, what were your feelings prior to reading it?
Yeah. I was so excited. Obviously, it was such an anticipated release for so many people. And like, I would have never gone to Colleen Hoover like many people did, which I'm thankful for them, and been like, give me this book of Lily and Atlas. Like, I want this happily ever after for them. I was kind of like, whatever when it ended, but I am glad that we have this. Like, to say that, like, I wouldn't have ever like advocated to get a sequel. I was just kind of like, it left off, but I am so happy that we got Lily and Atlas's happily ever after. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think kind of like you said, like, I was happy and content where it ends with us left off. I think that like we were given the epilogue where they ran into each other like on the street, and I think like what he said to her, like, you can stop swimming now, like they were going to be together. That's kind of like, I like a really happy ending where everything's wrapped up in a bow and like we know the characters are okay. And I wasn't really left with any questions, you know, like Ryle and Lily were raising their child together and she was going to end up with Atlas. And so I was very content with how it ended. So as I was very excited about It Starts With Us because I would read anything Colleen Hoover writes, but I'm not sure that I was like, you know, sitting on the edge of my seat, like to read it necessarily.
That's fair.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
That's fair.
So
I guess just to kind of preface this episode, I reread It Ends With Us literally right before I read It Starts With Us. So I wanted to reread it. Well, actually, Emily told me I had to reread it. So I started rereading it, and then she was like, no, I'm not going to read it.
So, okay, in my defense, though, too, you're right. I did think that we should have reread it. But then once Jess read it, she was like, Emily, like, I'm not even sure if you should read it. And I'm so glad that I didn't actually, because when I started It Starts With Us and I got through all of it, there were pieces of It Starts With Us that were kind of super repetitive or stuff that we already read and It Ends With Us. And I feel like if I would have read them back to back, it almost would have like skewed the way I viewed It Starts With Us, because I think I would have been like, I literally just read this. Like, I just read these letters. Like, why am I rereading this again? So I think because I did read It Ends With Us 2 years ago, It Starts With Us was kind of like a good refresher. Like, it didn't seem like super repetitive to me.
Well, I'm so glad that you had that experience. And it wasn't repetitive for you. I guess I'll just take one for the team this time.
Yeah.
Because you did make me stop reading It Starts With Us to restart It Ends With Us, and then you didn't. So, but I'll never forgive you for that, low key.
I don't blame you. I really kind of fucked you on that one.
But yeah, so Emily, like she said, she hadn't read the book for 2 years, and I had just read it. So just something to keep in mind as we're kind of chatting about our thoughts.
Yeah, because I think that we're going to end up having, just kind of the way this is going already, maybe having different opinions on it just because we had different reading experiences.
We shall
see.
See.
I don't know. We will see. I guess, how did you feel about it? Like, what did you, just kind of your overall thoughts?
Yeah, so my overall thoughts were that I liked it. I feel like it was hard not to like when you know kind of the circumstances, right? So you know Lily and Atlas have this really difficult past and you just want them to be happy, and this is kind of their moment for their happily ever after. And I also think too, knowing that Colleen like didn't necessarily want to write this book and the fans kind of pushed for it, which I know you know more about that than I do, if you want to talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so I think that is important to note too. And I think like when I think about my feelings towards this book, I think that plays a huge role into it because Colleen did say, like, she did not want to write this book. She had absolutely no intention on writing a sequel to It Ends With Us because she felt like she left the characters exactly where they needed to be. However, book talk and book bloggers, I mean, they've changed Colleen Hoover's life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, well deserved. You know, her books are amazing, but they really have blown her up and made her into like a huge celebrity. And I think she deserves that. But I mean, she gives credit where credit's due, right? You know, her readers did that for her. And I think It Ends With Us became so popular and so many people wanted a sequel. Like they wanted more of Lily and Atlas. And so they, you know, there were petitions with millions upon millions of signatures. And she even says that in her book. Like she felt like she owed it to her readers. And so again, I think I personally would have been okay without having a sequel because I did like where the characters ended, but knowing that she never intended to write this book and she did it for us, like I take it for what it is.
Yeah.
Like she was doing it for her readers. And I applaud that because again, you know, readers, they make authors' lives, you know, like we're out here doing the Lord's work.
Honest to God, just look at us. No, I agree, and I applaud her as well. I think when you're so invested in characters like people were with Lily and Atlas, you want to continue seeing how their lives play out. Like it's kind of like when you were little and you would watch the Cinderella stories and she'd end up with a prince and you're like, okay, but what now? Like, do they have kids? Do they whatever? You know what I mean? So I would say I really enjoyed it for what it is. Like this is just Lily and Atlas getting their time to shine. I will say I wish it would have went a little bit more into the future with them. Like I would have liked to see like this is right when kind of It Ends With Us starts or It Ends With Us ends. So it's just picking up to the very beginning of their relationship pretty much. And like they're still navigating how to be with each other. I would have liked it, I think, a lot more if it would have been like 5 years down the line or whatever, where you get to see more of like what actually happened. How did their lives play out? But I guess the intent behind that is like, maybe they don't have anything to talk about in 5 to 10 years because they're just happy and they're just living a normal life. So what do you talk about them? I think that's like the ultimate goal for Lily and Atlas is like they're just living a happy life.
I couldn't agree more with everything you just said, truly. I think that if I could have sat down with Colleen and said, hey, this is what I want, I would have said, I don't want this to start up exactly where It Ends With Us ended. I would have wanted something 5 years down the road. And so I still would have wanted to see, you know, Alyssa and Marshall, and I wanted to see, you know, Atlas and Lily living, and I hope they have kids. I mean, I think that they do have multiple babies. And you know, what happened with Ryle? Did he ever make amends? Did he get therapy? Is he involved in their life? Like, I almost finished It Starts With Us and had more questions. Like, I was just like, okay, well, I feel like so much was left unanswered. And now this is where I'm like, no, Colleen, like now I need like a third book in the series to tell me what happens next. So I guess my overall feeling about the book is I did like it. There was literally nothing not to like about it. It was, I think you even may have said this in your review, just a very extended epilogue. Like
you
it
were
was
not
just
supposed to read my review.
Well, I did anyways because I couldn't wait. But I think that and I think that's a good way to put it. Like this isn't a separate story by any means. Like this book could have been one book and just been a 600-page book. Like it was just a very extended epilogue. I think a lot of people liked it, but I think there are a lot of people out there who kind of felt the same way where like we didn't see a lot of Lily and Atlas, but I think because you're exactly right, like they were endgame. There was no conflict between them because they're happily ever after. Like there was nothing there. Like I think not even halfway through the book they said that, right? Like I don't know why we're taking this slow. Like we're going to be together forever.
Yeah,
so,
Atlas was literally like, okay, when do I get to stop pretending like we're not going to be together forever?
Yeah, and I'm like, now? That'd be great. Like,
yeah,
we all knew when you were 16, so.
Yeah, I will say, like, I really liked that we got a lot of, I guess, realism where it's like, they're not just jumping into this relationship and everything's fine. There was still a lot of issues between Ryle and Atlas and I guess navigating that, and Ryle still had feelings for Lily, and how do they just co-parent and figure their lives out in this new normal? But I think I would have liked maybe like a half and half. Like half of it is like they pick up and like navigate this new relationship, and then we get 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, and we see where they are now and how they're living out that happily ever after.
Yeah, I would have liked that too, but I guess, we got what we got, and I'm happy we got it, and I don't know, at least now we know for sure they ended up together. I knew that at the end of It Ends With Us. I think we all did. But you brought up Ryle, and he's actually a character that I do want to talk about, and I think that, like, so in It Ends With Us, and it's been a while since I read this, like, I admit that it's been 2+ years since I've read this book. However, I remember in It Ends With Us where Ryle was kind of a conundrum, right? Like, he was the character that, like, you should hate. You know what I mean? Like, that he has, like, these terrible traits. Like, he's abusive, and there's no excuses for it, right? But I think Colleen writes him in a way where, like, the readers do kind of, like, root for him a little bit, because he is such a likable guy. And I think that goes towards realism again. Like, there are guys out there who are so likable. I mean, you're a neurosurgeon, you know what I mean? But he still has this, like, terrible side to him. And then I think in It Starts With Us, there was nothing to root for with him. Like, he was, like, I don't know. This might be a terrible thing to say. I know people out there have agreed with me, and they take a lot of flack for it, so I'm willing to take it. But in It Ends With Us, like, Ryle, like, I liked Ryle. I felt bad for him. Like, and that's, like, it was hard not to. But in It Starts With Us, like, I did not like him at all. Like, he was a different person completely. Like, I think he was written in a way where there was no redeeming qualities for him. Like, the reader could not justify or excuse anything he was doing. Like, he was just absolutely terrible.
I think that's an interesting point that you bring up, because I know so many people who were like, I've seen so many TikToks where they're like, am I, like, the bad guy for liking Ryle, or, like, wanting Ryle to redeem himself, or wanting them to be together? And I don't think you are. I think it's a normal response because of the way she writes it. And I feel like that's part of the reason why this book got so big, is because I think the way she writes Ryle is intended to be reflective of an abuser, right? So he's a manipulator. Like, he makes you want to like him and want to forgive him. So I think she does a really great job with that. And I don't think you're alone when you're saying, like, you were rooting for him and you liked him, you felt bad for him.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. And then in this book, I was annoyed with Ryle because he just is, like, selfish. And I feel like he was a lot nastier in this book verbally.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in book 1, we saw him be physically abusive towards Lily. In book 2, he's definitely more verbally abusive.
Yeah.
And you get kind of two sides of him. And I think it's interesting too, the whole idea behind Ryle is what she says, and It Ends With Us, is like, we're not bad people, we just do bad things. And I think that's a lot of the reason why readers are like, well, I like Ryle, like, he's not a bad person, he's just doing this bad thing, I'm rooting for him. Right. And I just think it's kind of this, I don't know, that's my tea.
No, I agree. I just think it's such, like, a sensitive thing to talk about, because I don't think in any way, shape, or form, like, me and you are sitting here being like, oh my God, I love Ryle, I want to marry Ryle. Like, I am not romanticizing abuse at all. Like, I am so happy that Lily got out of that relationship. And I think in It Starts With Us, we get a lot of internal monologue from Lily. And at times I was like, I just want to see you and Atlas kind of, like, I want to see you guys communicate. I want to see more of your relationship. But I think, like, reflecting on it, it was so important to read that internal monologue, because how many times was she telling herself, I did the right thing, I did the right thing, like, reminding herself, she wrote those letters to herself, this is why I'm not in this relationship anymore, this is why I'm not in that marriage. And then throw in a kid, like, I can't even imagine, like, how she was feeling. So I don't know, it just kind of was weird to see his character from It Ends With Us to It Starts With Us, because I think that there was a really big shift kind of he's still an abuser, but I just think it was way more, like you said, verbally abusive in book 2. And I don't think a lot of readers are going to be able to be like, well, I feel bad for him. Like, there was nothing, like, you can't help someone who doesn't want help.
Right. He's less redeeming in this book because he's not, I guess, actively trying to get Lily back. Like, I feel like in this book, he does want her back still, but I feel like he's more not accepting, but it's more real for him that she's not coming back. And so now he's really truly showing his true colors and he's just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Which he has been all along, but it's like it's like a two-face. Like, he flips a coin, and it's like he's not trying to get her back. So even if he was hurting her and it ends with us, like, he would be like, I'm so sorry. Like, that'll never happen again. Like, I didn't mean to hurt you. Like, and he's trying to, like, make things better, where in this book, it's like there's no making things better.
Right. And I wonder if that was, like, more intentional on Colleen's part, where she really didn't give Ryle, like, any chapters or any pages for him to try and redeem himself. Like, he did something wrong, and then it was left at that. Like, no one tried to like, Lily never tried to make excuses for him or justify any type of his behavior. Like, it was just very obvious. Like, that's, like, he's in the wrong. Like, he's an abuser, and that's that.
Yeah. Which I think is good.
Yeah. No, I agree. But enough about Ryle, because he sucked.
To be clear, I've hated Ryle the whole time.
I liked Ryle in book 1. I did. I don't know, but I don't think I'm alone in that. And I don't like what he did at all, but I think that it was just a character that was easy to root for and easy to hope that he changed, and he didn't. And I applaud Lily for leaving that situation. And also too, this book is very much inspired by Colleen Hoover's life. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I can't even imagine how emotional this was for her to write this, because I think this goes back to Ryle again. Like, she says in her, It Ends With Us, like, her dad was a great dad. He was just a terrible husband, so there are those redeeming qualities. And I am hoping that's what happened with Ryle at the end of It Starts With Us. Like, he was a terrible husband. He doesn't deserve to be in another relationship or to hurt another woman, but I hope that he is a great dad and a great co-parent to Emerson. So
I agree. No, and I think that's a perfect way to stop talking about Ryle, because we're just going to hope for the best and hope he really makes that switch, right?
I agree. But talking about Atlas, how do you feel about Atlas? I've read some really funny Goodreads reviews about people really dogging Atlas.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
I want you all to send them to me.
I will. Well, I'll okay, tell me how you feel about Atlas. I'm going to pull one up and
I love him. I don't know. I think he's that's it.
And that's that.
That's that. I think he's such, like, a golden retriever character, and he just, I don't know, just the character growth. I think from seeing, like, teenage Atlas and It Ends With Us to now seeing adult Atlas, even though we got a little bit of that in the first book, in the second book you get just more of it.
No, I agree. Atlas, I think, is just a superior character. Like, there's nothing about him that's unlikable, from him being a teenager to him being a grown adult man. Like,
I mean, talk about a comeback story. Like, he's literally a homeless teenager about to end his life, and It Ends With Us, and now he is this adult who has his shit together. He has 2 restaurants. Like, I don't know. You gotta give him props.
100%.
I will not stand for Atlas slander, actually, but I do want to read it if it's funny.
Okay. It's not, when I say funny, it's not like, haha, funny. It's like, you're an idiot. Like, what the fuck? Who would write this? But someone wrote, It Starts With Us. Welcome to Did This Book Really Need to Exist? Part 4,334,225. Alternatively titled, A Bland Man Does the Bare Minimum and People Eat It Up Like He's an Austen Character. And there are so many reviews like this, and I don't understand the Atlas hate. I don't know how he's bland. I don't know how he's doing the bare minimum. Like, this man, like you said, literally rose from the freaking ashes, treats her amazing. Like, are you comparing him to Ryle? Is that why you think he's bland? Because like, what are you, like, I don't understand.
Who does the bare minimum, where he's literally like, I won't talk to you for 20 years, but, like, if you need me, call me, and I will literally be there for you and let you stay at my house. And hold on, does the bare minimum. Let's talk about his just in case Lily, his basket that he made, where he went to Target.
No, I was dying. I thought, I was like, this is the sweetest man I've ever read about. Like,
bare minimum, he keeps a just in case Lily basket for 2 years.
He's doing the most, actually. Like, he is literally doing the most. And on top of that, how did you feel about finding out he had a brother?
Oh my gosh. I think it was okay, so I actually before we talk about that, let's talk about how this wasn't just a romance. Like,
no.
And I think that goes back to, like, what the readers were expecting. There was I would say like a bare minimum romance happening in this. Well, maybe not bare minimum, but it was mainly just about how their lives kind of pick up after it ends with us, and how they're kind of navigating, like I said, their past and the present, and how they're kind of trying to figure out how they can be together. Whatever. But I will say I did really like him and his brother's relationship, and I thought it was, I don't know, I just thought it was a beautiful part of the book.
I did too. I totally agree. And I don't know. So when we first were learning about his restaurants being vandalized, at first my thought was Ryle. Like that was my first instinct to think it was him. But then when he watched the security footage and it was like a young kid, like I honestly just like knew. I was like, I guarantee that's his brother. Like that has to be like his little brother. It has to be a family member. Like it has to be someone that's going to be like important to him.
Okay,
and so,
I did not.
You didn't guess that?
I why would I guess that?
It has to be someone
I actually
important.
thought his mom was dead.
Okay. Well, I don't remember. Was the mom mentioned It Ends With Us? See, like, that's something I don't remember. Like, I know she was abusive, but I don't remember her being, like, in detail.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't even know if they say she was abusive, actually. They just say that he had, like, scars on his arms. And he says at one point, he's like, my mom's gone. Or maybe he says my dad's gone. But what happens is his mom kicks him out because his stepdad says that he needs to go.
Yeah, that's fucked. But I really did. I thought it was going to be like a family member, like a long lost, like cousin, brother or something. I just had a feeling it was going to be someone important, or else like, why would they throw this kid in there? I don't know. But I loved it. I loved the dynamic that they had. I thought it was so, so sweet. Like he changed his life. And also Josh was so funny. And so is Theo. Oh my God.
I love Theo. He's one of my favorite characters.
He was so funny when he would like say all those, like he was making fun of him for all of like the Dory references and Finding Nemo references. Yeah. I was dying. I thought it was so funny.
I wish for you to be my fish.
Yeah.
No, I think I really liked Josh and Atlas's relationship in that part of the story. I don't know actually if I would have liked the book as much if they didn't have that, because then it would really just be like nothing.
I am so glad you said that, because I was going to say the same thing. Like, I feel like I was almost more invested in Atlas and Josh's relationship than Atlas and Lily's. Just because, like, we knew Atlas and Lily. Like, you know it. They're going to end up together. Like, they're going to be there happily ever after. So I was so curious about, like, I was really afraid that Josh was going to go to his dad's house and his dad was going to have his shit together and like be like a really good dad, and he was going to leave Atlas. I was like really worried that was going to be it. But
yeah, I was worried that he was going to leave Atlas. Not so much that his dad was going to be a good person now, but that he was going to leave Atlas, and when Atlas really wanted to kind of have this relationship with him. Okay, but can we talk about this quote in the book too?
Yes, let's do it. What is it?
I cry.
Okay.
It says
exactly.
It says, "You're a privileged Josh. If I'd known you existed, I would have knocked over buildings to find you."
That is so sweet. I think Atlas has a way with his freaking words, dude. Like he is going to have babies with Lily, and they're all going to be amazing, and they're all going to be poets, because they just have
all of them.
All of them are going to be poets. They're going to be amazing people.
I have a couple notes written down that I write down like as I was reading, and my note here says her name is Lily Blossom Bloom and her daughter's name is Emerson Dory Kincaid, after a cartoon fish. So
it's a lot to take in for sure, but you know, you gotta love
it. Coho for the names that she gives these characters. I mean, the majority of them have some off the wall names, so it's fine.
No, they don't. But wait, I actually wrote down notes too, because it makes it easier when I go to like write my review for the book. Mm-hmm. And what I wrote down was Atlas MC, letters to Lily. I don't know where I was going with the Atlas MC, but the letters to Lily, that's another thing that got so much hate, where people were like, are these letters really back, with Lily writing letters to Ellen?
Oh.
And
Can we talk about that first?
Please, let's do. Because again, you know, disagree with me if you want. I do not understand the hate towards those either. Like, I thought they were a really healthy coping mechanism for her. Like, personal stuff happens in my life and I'm starting to journal, and I might not write Dear Ellen at the top of the page, but I'm still getting like my thoughts and feelings out there. Like, I just don't know why people are so bothered by that.
I agree. I just think it's not a fair criticism. Like,
No.
if you're thinking about it, this was a child who was witnessing her mom be abused by her father, right?
Yeah.
And she found joy in watching the Ellen show, okay?
Mhm.
And she found a coping mechanism to write to Ellen to make herself feel better about what was happening in her life. And I think that's commendable, especially for a child. And
I
I
totally
think
agree.
as she is growing up, and her still coming back to that, I think that's fine. Like, I don't know why it gets so much hate either. It's actually really
no idea.
frustrating for me.
I know. I think it is too. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Like, if it really gets under your skin, like, maybe you should start writing letters to Ellen. I don't know. It didn't bother me. And also, and It Starts With Us, doesn't she only write to Ellen like once or twice? Like, she only writes.
Yeah, she only writes to her once, but it's the letters are coming back from It Ends With Us. Like, they make another appearance, but they're the same letters.
Yeah. So wait, I think that's a good point, because you just read It Ends With Us. Did it bother you rereading the letters in It Starts With Us, since you literally just read them?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I did not read the letters and It Starts With Us once I realized that they were from It Ends With Us. So yeah, it bothered me.
Okay.
I mean, not like bothered me, but I was just like, why are these here? Like, they're in the other book.
Yeah. I clearly did not feel that way since I didn't read It Ends With Us. I actually welcomed the letters, because I don't know if I would have felt this way, but I guess just speaking from my reading experience, I liked the letters because I liked getting Atlas's reaction to the letters. And I liked that they prompted him to like write letters back to her. I thought that was so sweet. Like, I really liked them. I thought it was, but if I just read them, maybe I'd be like, is this just like page fillers? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I have no idea. But as I read it, I really liked it.
Yeah, I could see that. I think for someone who has just read the book, then it's going to be annoying. Like, if you read these back to back, you're going to be annoyed just because it is repeat content and you're like, why am I reading this? I just read it. So I think if you can space these books out, that's probably better. If not, just skip over the letters. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, they're not super long, but I agree. Like, I did like seeing Atlas's reaction to them, and I liked seeing his responses to Lily. He's literally writing her letters. What are you talking about, bare minimum?
I just don't understand. I really don't. Maybe because, I will say, normally in the romance books I read, like, I am rooting for, like, the morally gray character, like, the unlikable kind of grumpy guy. So for me to even say Atlas is, like, a top-tier, superior book boyfriend, like, it's real, okay? Like, you don't need to be mean to, I don't know, to be a book boyfriend.
I think this just goes back to the fact that these are not really traditional romances. Like, and I think that's why It Ends With Us got a lot of flack, because people are like, this should not be characterized as a romance. And this one, where it's like, I would say it's pretty balanced between, maybe even more so skewed to less romantic stuff and more about them as individuals and like finding, I don't know, getting their shit together.
No, I agree. I think it's like, I don't even know if I'm using this term correctly, and I don't even know what genre I would say, but this is kind of just more like a new adult fiction, maybe. Like, it just kind of, with some romances, maybe like a subplot. Like
a slut
plot. But I could have just made every single one of those things up and they actually mean something else, but I guess like that's how I would describe it. Like, I don't think romance was like the first thing I thought of.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Can we talk about, well, I have two things that I want to talk about. Okay. One is, can we talk about Atlas's relationship with Emmy?
Yes.
I cry.
when she was sleeping on his leg.
We both cry. When she was sleeping on his leg, yeah, that's the part I was going to bring up. And he's like just looking at her because he knows their end game, and he's just looking at her and he's like, this is crazy. Like, this is what, like, my daughter, like, this is gonna be my daughter, which
literally
a normal person's mind, you may be like, okay, settle down, bro. But like they have
Right.
so much history, and we all know they're going to be endgame. They know they're going to be endgame, and it's just like this
Yes.
prolonged thing. So I thought that was such a cool moment, and for him to recognize that is like, this is like a big deal. This is my daughter.
It was so sweet. I loved that. I also really liked too at the very end when Marshall dropped Emmy off and Ryle was in the car, like he didn't get out, but how Emmy like leaned into him
She
and like with the
reaches for him.
sunglasses. Yeah, like I thought it was so sweet. Like I absolutely loved it.
I think
I
it was
think-
a real. All the interactions are so cute.
Yeah, no, I agree. What's the other thing you want to talk about?
The other thing I want to talk about, well, this actually just came up. I just have to say, I love Marshall. I love his character so much.
I love Marshall and Alyssa.
I love, both of them.
They
I do
are-
think Alyssa isn't as tough as she should. But I guess I get it. Like, it's still her brother, but she's trying to find that balance. But I feel like sometimes they definitely aren't as harsh on Ryle as they should be.
So I think Alyssa is kind of like an unsung hero. I think that she is in a position I couldn't imagine being in. You know, I have two brothers. And so I think that when they get married and they have babies and, you know, now my niece is involved where, you know, it's my brother and I know why he is the way he is. And I absolutely agree he needs help. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I would cut him out of my life, but then on the other hand, to have your sister-in-law, someone you love, who is your sister and your best friend, you know, who's the mother of your niece, to be able to kind of find a middle ground, I think would be really hard. And I think she does the best she can with being where she is.
I agree. I think that's fair.
And I love Marshall too. When they have their moment in the hallway,
I love Marshall
that
so much.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite characters. Okay, what was I going to say? Oh, I want to touch on how there's so much filler in this book.
Okay.
I feel like it could have been a novella. Like, we could have just been given a novella and have been fine. But there's a part in the book, there's several parts in the book where they're just like, she's just like saying things to say things. So there's a part where Lily gets to Alice's house and they have to get the baby out of the car. And he's just like, I ask if she needs me to carry anything. And she says there's a diaper bag in the front seat. So I go get it. And I'm just like, I don't care.
I don't care about the diaper bag, actually.
Yeah. Like, just,
I
why are we
didn't
saying this?
Yeah, I didn't pick up on any of that, to be honest with you, but I do have a good friend who just read this, and she said the same exact thing. She was like, this could have just been a novella. Like, this did not need to be 320 pages, because kind of like you said, like, there was some fluff and filler in it. Like, it probably could have been 150 pages, and the exact same result could have happened. It just could have been, like, condensed. However, I think when you're looking at it, Colleen Hoover wasn't going to write that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she wanted to write, like, a book. Like, I don't know. So maybe if we looked at It Ends With Us, there might be some, like, fluff or filler in that,
I'm
too. But we
sure.
just don't notice it as much. I don't know.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know if I have anything else to say.
No, I don't think I have anything else to say about this book either. I guess just to wrap it up and to sum up my feelings, I'm going to do a review on the book soon. So I probably will sit on this for a while. But I guess just right off the bat, I liked the book. There was nothing about the book to not like. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know if this delivered on what I was maybe hoping for. But I applaud Colleen Hoover for writing this because I know she did it for us. And I think that what she gave us was fine. You know, like we totally got more Atlas and more Lily. We know they ended up together. So I think for what it is, it was good.
So I did my review already, and I rated this book 4 stars on Goodreads. I don't necessarily stick to like a rating system. Usually I don't give books numbers, but when I put things on Goodreads, I will rate it. So I rated this 4 stars, and I totally agree with everything that you said. I think she delivered a book that the people wanted.
Exactly.
I didn't go into this with any expectations. I went into it blind. So maybe it's not what I would have wanted necessarily for this, but I think it was fine. I think it was a realistic way to showcase how they are kind of coming together finally.
Yeah.
I wish it was more of their future together, but I guess since they're endgame and they're going to have an HEA, we don't need that. So
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, with all that being said, Colleen Hoover is one of my absolute favorite authors. I literally have read everything she has ever written, and I will continue to do that. So we put together a list of some other coho recommendations, some of Jess's favorites, some of mine. So Jess, do you want to tell them which ones you recommend?
Yeah, so my favorite Colleen Hoover is November 9th by far. I don't know why, I just really resonate with that book and I loved it. So November 9th is my rec, and then I'm also going to say Reminders of Him. I know that wasn't your favorite coho, but I really enjoyed that book and it definitely made me sob. So
yeah, and a lot of people did. A lot of people loved Reminders of Him. So again, it just goes to different strokes for different folks, you know, as much. It might not be my favorite, but I really like that one, just like everything she does. So I would definitely recommend All Your Perfects. I think that is it is her most emotional book she's ever written for sure, but I think it's so beautiful. So if you're going to read that one, definitely have some tissues. And then Ugly Love too. I think that is a top tier book from her. I love all the characters. I think it's really relatable for people maybe like in their 20s. I think it's a good one. And then this is a very different book, but Verity. I feel like we have to mention Verity. I think that is peak writing for Colleen Hoover. It's a psychological thriller with some romance in there. But I think if you want like top-notch writing and storytelling, Verity is 100% the way to go.
that's a good point. Yeah. I think in the future we're going to do a whole kind of author spotlight on Colleen Hoover, but if you are just starting in the Colleen Hoover world, these are some great recs to start, along with, of course, It Ends With Us and Now It Starts With Us. But all right, so our favorite part of the show where we just give away things for free because why the hell not?
Free for you, not for me.
Call us Oprah, call us Ellen, you know, whatever. But our bookmark, if you're new here, this is a segment on the podcast where we reference a part of the show that you just listened to, and we allow you to slide into our DMs, and we will pick a person at random to win a prize. It could be a book, it could be a gift card, it could be a cup of coffee.
A cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee. So, Emily, what is our bookmark this week?
Our bookmark for this week is going to be, what Colleen Hoover book did Charlotte's quiz say that Jess was?
What book am I?
Slide into our DMs over at Friends with Books Pod and let us know, what book is Jess?
Yes, please let us know. And we will pick a person at random again to win a little something. Something.
I
actually have a surprise for Emily to round out this podcast.
Oh my God, I'm scared. Should I be scared?
You should be scared. I didn't want to tell you, just because I thought it would be better if you didn't know and it just happened. But yeah. So when we were recording our drunk episode last week, Emily said to me, my dream guest to have on the podcast is blank. And so I contacted that person and I asked them to come on the podcast and chat with us. And they said yes. So
who is it? I'm afraid to guess.
In January, we will be recording an episode with Candy Steiner.
Get the fuck out. Oh my God. I'm so excited. Oh my God. You know what's funny? If you listen to our past episodes, one of her books is I mentioned that it's my favorite read of the year. Was she so nice? She was so
nice, and she was so excited to do it.
Oh my God. I'm so nervous.
I'm actually happy that I told you now too, because I feel like you can help me prepare. So
no, yeah, you have to read A Love Letter to Whiskey now.
Yeah. So
oh God, I can't breathe. I'm sweating.
What it is I am just a really great friend. So.
Yeah, she is. Damn it. She does stuff like this all the time. And it just really, now I gotta do something. I'm just kidding. That's amazing. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. You're going to have to slide in our DMs and be like, I forced Jess to tell me because she thought it was going to be a surprise too. So,
could you imagine if you brought her on the podcast? I would have had a stroke.
Can I imagine if I brought her on the podcast and you look like this? Let me take a picture.
I'm so embarrassed. Well, stay tuned for what I look like at the moment.
Stay tuned. But that's pretty much it. We also are really excited for an episode in February because we got another amazing podcast guest. And in December, we have another amazing podcast guest. So we're just full of podcast guests right now.
We are. And I can vouch for the other two because I know who they are. And they are amazing. I'm so excited. They're going to be so fun. But I'm so excited to have Candy Steiner on the show.
Woo!
So everyone, go look up our books. All of them are basically free on Kindle Unlimited. So read all of them, and we're going to talk about them in January. I'm so excited.
Oh, well, I guess we can say we are friends with It Starts With Us. If you like this episode and want to continue reading along with us, make sure you head over to Instagram and follow us at Friends with Books Pod, where we will announce all of our upcoming buddy reads.
Yes, and in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to the pod and tune into next week's episode.
Bye!